Good morning and welcome back. We'll now look at part 2 of the IT Infrastructure Asset Management series. In part 1, we had covered objectives, the importance of IT asset management, components, stages, process workflow, and best practices. In this part 2, we will be covering the challenges, the technologies enabling ITAM, the GRC aspect of ITAM, emerging trends, key attributes, discovery and the automation part of it, and then we'll have a conclusion. We have seen many a times using inventory management and asset management interchangeably. Sometimes naively we believe it's the same, but there's a difference. Let's look at it. From an asset management perspective, the focus is on maximizing the value and life cycle of equipments and other assets a company uses to operate. It's about optimizing performance, maintenance, and replacement of assets like machinery, vehicle, and IT infrastructure. It's about keeping the machinery running. That's the focus of asset management. Whereas inventory management, the focus is on managing the stock of products a company sells or uses in production. It's about managing the stock or products a company sells, raw material used in production or supplies used in operation. It prioritizes meeting demand and minimizing cost. It's about getting the right product to the customer. This, I hope, clears there is a big difference between asset management and inventory management. The goal of asset management is ensuring assets are in the right place, functioning correctly, and available when needed, while minimizing cost and downtime. That's the goal of asset management. Whereas the goal of inventory management is ensuring that enough inventory on hand to meet customers' demand and production needs while minimizing storage cost and waste. So the goals are way different. Example, tracking the condition of manufacturing machines, scheduling maintenance, replacing it when it is no longer cost effective. That's asset management. Whereas managing the stock of finished goods in a warehouse, ordering raw material to meet production schedule, and preventing stockouts is inventory management. The scope, asset management deals with equipment used to run the business, whereas inventory is management is about deals with the product and the raw material the business is generating. From a time frame perspective, asset management often involves long-term planning and investment decisions, whereas inventory management it's about more focused and immediate need and demand. I hope this clears one aspect that inventory management is way different from asset management. So when you are having a conversation, a discussion, or a presentation, if you are discussing asset management, stick to the word asset management. Need not have to introduce inventory management naively thinking that it is the same. It is different. Challenges. Even with good systems, organizations often face real world problem in managing their IT assets like the computers, softwares, hardwares, cloud services, mobile devices. The first one is missing or invisible assets. Some devices or softwares may not be tracked at all, like those forgotten servers, a personal laptop used for work, or an unused cloud account, or it was simply not switched on and your discovery tool couldn't find it at that point of time and it missed all the future such scans or manual accounting. This problem of invisible asset is very high when your asset discovery is manual. The chances of missing an asset is less likely if you have automation in place. What has been identified is organizations with manual almost always struggle with audits and are exposed to a lot of issues in terms of regulatory challenges, vulnerability fixes, and so on. And missing assets are something which will cause you a lot of security gaps and surprises which can prove very costly. The second part is outdated or wrong information. This happens again primarily if you're any manual way of updating the records. The moment you have manual entry in any form and shape on any attributes, you will end up having wrong information. The chances are extremely high. Do you remember our conversation on attributes earlier for all of the assets? You might have a discovery in place, but the discovery might be able to do an update to most, but there are fields which might require manual entries. The moment anything is manual, the chances of having wrong or outdated information goes higher. Hence, the objective should be to go automatic as much as possible so to avoid the wrong information seeping in. The next is compliance risk. That is, if you don't know your assets properly or how they are used, you may break rules or regulations like the GDPR, HIPAA, PCI DSS, or any regulations in specific countries. It can lead to fines, legal troubles, and loss of trust. Do remember we had specific attributes within in our earlier conversation, which I had highlighted to have it updated. These are important during reviews. And in non-compliances, not having this or having this information incomplete or outdated can cause you dear. In large organizations where you have legacy systems, your asset tools may not work smoothly with other systems like the ticketing, the ERP, the cloud platforms in some cases. This is a big problem because you end up then updating the records manually, copying the system data from one to the other, which is slow and error prone. Again, it goes into manual mode of update. So do look at the challenges and try to, as a management team, your objective should be to automate all, or at least whatever is technically feasible at that point of time, and look out for options for those which were not able to update automatically and try to find an alternative which can get that entries in ASAP. We discussed about what happens when updates are manual. The next challenge that you will have is shadow IT. These are assets which are not officially being procured by the organization. An employee, out of enthusiasm or ignorance, may bring their own softwares or devices. This can cause data leaks, cyber attacks, or license violations. So, shadow IT is a challenge which is real, and tracking it is a major issue. The best way to handle this has been awareness program across your estate so that the occurrence of a shadow IT is minimized. The other part is ownership. When the assets are not tagged out to the correct department or the owner during service issues or any updates, there is nobody to take care of it, which can lead to misuse, neglect, or security issues. Now, this is because of process failure. As I discussed earlier when we discussed looking at the attribute part, having the entry of the right department, if it's optional, you will end up having this challenge. But if it is mandatory, then these challenges can be addressed. Having said that, if the assets or the tenants move and the process do not incorporate updating that record, you would still have this challenge coming in. Hence, this can only be tackled by tightening your process and making all of the entries as mandatory, and if any assets has to go into production without this field, it should not be allowed to. The system and the process should not allow it to happen. So this is something which can be addressed via tight process control. Technologies enabling ITAM. We know by now it is not useful to manually update assets. It's prone to errors and can cause lots of issues. Thankfully, we do have tools now which are used by large as well as small organizations. The tools can be complex, doing complex discoveries, updates, gets integrated with process flow of the organization and so on. But then Not all tools will be capable depending on the size of the organization and the budget. Complex tools has to be procured. So that is one challenge. But having said that, tools are available. The recommendation is try to get one tool which can give all of the features that you want or all the attributes that you are intending to. Or you might have to use a combination of tool, but it's important that they speak to each other. Otherwise, you end up having a manual activity to integrate them. So we do have freewares as such, which you can customize if you have that strength in coding. But most of the tools now available in the market do give you almost 99% of the functionalities that you are expecting. So recommended is to try to get a tool which can give you all that you want from your organization requirement perspective. The next is the RFID and barcode tagging. This is critical, I would say, because having these helps you track and update movements. Else you would have to do a discovery, which you would do it as a can do it as a secondary, but primary in this case when you once you install and after the discovery, and if it has to be moved from one location to another, having an RFID tagging helps, because then that tagging when scanned in automatically updates the database with the movements. I think that is something that has to be factored in, but it comes with a cost, depends on the organization. So keep these options open if possible. It's useful when you are a large organization. Moving access across is going to be cumbersome if it is manual. The next is cloud asset management platform. These two tools help track cloud resources like virtual machines, storage, apps, etc. It also helps you to track the usage for cost management. So these are some of the options that is available. The next is artificial intelligence and predictive analytics. AI tool can analyze trends and spot the problems like predicting when an asset might fail or is underused. It helps in planning your maintenance, avoid breakdowns, and save money by using assets more wisely. Blockchain helps keep the secure, unchangeable history of assets, ownership, and transactions. You know exactly who used the asset and what happened to it. Helps with your supply chain. This is an evolving field, and tools are currently available which can be used or you can customize if you have that deep understanding or technical strength within the organization. The next is governance, risk, and compliance consideration. When you are managing IT assets, it is not just about tracking them. You also need to make sure they are used properly, safely, and legally. That's where GRC comes in. Governance aspect is about doing the things the right way. Governance means setting rules, policies, and responsibilities on how IT asset should be bought, used, protected, and retired. Everyone follows the same rule and nothing is missed or misused when governance is in place. An example is a company policy that says all laptops must have an antivirus software or only IT can approve new software purchases. So that's governance. Risk management is about avoiding bad surprises. Means risk management is about identifying and reducing the chance of things going wrong, like data losses, device getting stolen, licenses getting expired and you're not aware of it, security threats, etc. It helps protects the business from financial losses, data breaches, or system crashes. An example is checking which old servers are no longer supported or which cloud apps have security gaps. So that's the risk management aspect. Compliance is all about following the law. Compliance means making sure your IT asset follow legal rules and industry standards. It helps avoid fines, lawsuits, or shutdowns from breaking the rules. Example is making sure your personal data is stored securely or that software is properly licensed. So that's compliance for you. In summary, governance is about having clear policies on assets, use, and ownership. Risk is about spotting and fixing asset related risk, example, old device, unpatched systems, etc. And compliance is making sure assets meet legal and security requirements. Emerging trends in IT infrastructure asset management space. IT asset management is changing as technology grows and improves. Some of them are listed below. It actually helps how computers or systems are tracked, managed, and how are they protected. The first one is the IoT. Means company now uses a lot of smart devices like sensors, camera, medical machines connected to the internet. ITAM tool are being upgraded to track and manage IoT devices just like computers and servers. Sustainability and green IT. More companies want to reduce energy use and electronic waste. ITAM now includes tracking energy efficient devices, recycling old assets, and using tools that help the environment. So that's the sustainability and green IT aspect. Linking the assets with cybersecurity. Cybersecurity being the hot topic and a major challenge across the industry. Unmanaged assets are a security risk. ITAM is now working closely with cybersecurity to track vulnerable devices. It is, if you can see all your assets, you can patch them, protect them, and avoid attacks. If you can't, all of the risk pops up. Next is autonomous ITAM, self-running asset management. AI and automation tool can now find, fix, manage assets on their own with little human help. This makes asset management faster, smarter, and more accurate. Large organizations are already on the path, and newer organizations are adapting it first. So what we see in future is you bring in an asset, and once in and discovered, it tracks, taking a lot of overheads and manual work which is currently required to be in some form and shape. ITAM as a service. Now this is progressing, under test, under review, but it is sure to win if services are streamlined and customized for organizations. It is, instead of building everything in-house, companies now use third-party services to handle their IT asset management. It saves times, reduces cost, and brings expertise without hiring a full team. We discussed key attributes in our last video. The summary is as shown. You can pause the screen, you can look at the notes. This is your first, which include your name, asset name, unique ID, location, owners, assigned users. The second is purchase dates, warranties, status, end of life, replacement dates, etc. Then we had compliance and security setting, configuration settings, and so on. So take this as a snapshot for your reference. And if you had completed your part 1 of this video, you can correlate this. Now we come to why missing assets or missing an attribute of an asset matters. There are 4 key. If you don't know all your assets, you cannot secure data. If you don't track where sensitive data flows, you can't protect it. If you can't prove controls and inventory or accuracy, you fail the audits. If you fail audit, you lose money, reputation, or license to operate in that environment or that region. So that's in summary as to why missing an asset or missing an attribute is a no-no. So in order so that we don't miss out, we use the discovery and the automation around that. Discovery automation is the use of software tool that automatically finds and record all the IT assets in your company. Instead of someone manually typing every asset, the system scans your network and adds them to your inventory automatically. How does it work? The system scans the network to find devices connected like laptop, printer, routers, and everything that is there today. It reads the system data to collect details like the serial number, software installed, and all the attributes that your tool is capable of finding. The assets would always be providing if you are querying, but it's the tool which needs to be capable to in order for it to talk to the asset and bring out the information that you are looking out for. It helps you list cloud and mobile devices by connecting to your cloud accounts or mobile management tool. Now, summarizing discovery automation, the reason it saves time, so no need to enter every asset manually. It reduces error, it improves visibility, it catches unapproved devices, it supports security and compliance. Some of the tools are listed: the Lance Sweepers, Microsoft SCCM, Intune, ServiceNow Discovery, AWS Config, or Azure's Resource Gap. These are some tools. There are many more in the market that you can refer to. If you go one level deeper on hardware asset discovery, what's the automation available? There are agent-based discovery, there are agentless network scanning, SNMP-based discovery, and barcode or RFID scanning. Agent-based discovery is lightweight software installed on devices to report back asset info like CPU, RAM, and so on and so forth. Agentless tools like Landsweeper, ServiceNow scan the network to identify devices without needing to install an agent. SNMP based discovery, network device report their details using SNMP. That's the simple network management protocol. RFID barcode, it's about physical tagging of hardware, scanners, automate inventory during move or audits. Methods, network scanning tool, it is auto discovers physical devices connected to the network. Example, SolarWind, Landsweeper, Manage Engine, Ops Manager, example. Endpoint management solution, it's an agent based solution installed on laptops, desktop servers. Example is Tanium, Ivanti, Intune, etc. The RFID, the physical tracking of critical infrastructure, especially used in logistics and data centers. Example, the Zebra RFID, Honeywell scanners, etc. Integrating with CMDB, it's an auto feed discovery hardware into the CMDB. Example, ServiceNow, BMC, Atrium, etc. When we look at software asset discovery automation, we have endpoint agents, software license manager, or API based integration. Endpoint agent is discovering installed application and versions on desktop, laptop, servers, etc. License manager is automated compliance and usage tracking for licensed software. API based integration is connected directly with app stores, licensing servers, or software deployment systems. The software inventory scanner, it's an agent scans for installed application versions, license, etc. like Flexera, Snow Software, Ivanti, ITAM. Application telemetry, it's about monitoring tool agents, collects usage stats, versions, patches. Example, BigFix, Manage Engine, etc. Cloud native SaaS discovery, it's an API based discovery of SaaS subscription and usage. Example, Better Cloud, Tori, Zluri, example. The network asset discovery automation involves network mapping tools, passive network monitoring, IPAM, DHCP, DNS tools. Network mapping tool uses active scanning to map out all the assets from a network space. Passive network monitoring uses monitors traffic to identify unmanaged devices joining the network. Tools like Infoblox automate discovery via IP address and DNS tracking. SNMP walk and polling. This is automatic discovery, device discovery using SNMP. Example, SolarWind, NetBrain, Logic Monitor. Network mapping and topology tools, which is real-time dynamic network mapping and visualization. Example, NetBrain, Cisco DNS Center, etc. Deep packet inspection or DPI, it analyzes network traffic to discover unmanaged unknown devices like DarkTrack, Arista, Awake Security, etc. When it comes to cloud, the automation has three. One is cloud native asset management, multi-cloud governance, and infrastructure as a code. The first one is where cloud assets are automatically tracked for the inventory. In the second, it discovers assets across multiple cloud providers. And in the third, it discovers resources defined in the IAC. In cloud native asset inventory, It's about building in tools from cloud provider for auto discovery. Example is AWS config, Azure, etc. In cloud security posture management, it is discovering, classifying, and monitoring cloud assets and its misconfigurations. Example available is Prisma Cloud, Wiz, Orca Security. These are examples. In multi-cloud asset monitoring, it's about having a unified view of assets across AWS, Azure, GCP. We have tools like Datadog, Laceworks, Sumo Logics, etc. Do note, tools are popping up every day. Every day a new tool comes up. You can test what is available and see which is relevant from cost perspective, from security perspective, and of course, it has to be relevant for your estate. When we look at automation in mobile device discovery, we have the MDM solution, and in case of Apple, we have the Apple DEP and Android EMM enrollment. The first one is where it automatically enrolls and completes the inventory of all the mobile devices. In the second, it is about enrolling into MDM at activation and reports the attributes that we need to track. From a method perspective, the MDM example of this would be Microsoft Intune, VMware Workspace ONE, Mobile Iron. It automatically enrolls, completes the inventory, monitors for all the corporate mobile devices. In EMM case, which is Enterprise Mobility Management, it manages the BYOD and corporate devices for security and compliance. Examples are Citrix Endpoint Management, IBM MAS. When it comes to Unified Endpoint Management or UEM, which manages your mobile, desktop, IoT devices in a single console. Example is the Ivanti UEM, BlackBerry EUM, etc. When it comes to automation in data asset discovery, we have data discovery and classification tool. We have data lineage and metadata management. We have database scanning and profiling. The first one is wherein it automatically scans the database, file shares, SaaS apps for sensitive data like PII, PHI, PCI. We have tools like Veronis, BigID, Microsoft Preview, OneTrust. The second part, it automatically builds the lineage map and classify data shape. Example is Colibra, Alitin, Informatic EDC as an example. In third case, it scans relational and non-relational database for its attributes. Classic case is IBM Guardium, Oracle DataSafe. These are tools which are in use and highly popular. You might have new ones coming up. You can check that what's available currently in the market. Coming on to cross-domain automation and consolidation space. When we have to automate ITSM and CMDB, we have tools like ServiceNow Discovery, BMC Helix, Fresh Service Discovery, etc., which is used for automated population of ITSM CMDB from discovery sources. When it comes to SIM and XDR integration, we have Splunk, Microsoft, Sentinel, Palo Alto, Cortex XDR. It is used to feed asset information into security monitoring tool for their correlation. When we look at AI-driven asset correlation engine, we have tools like Ivanti Neurons, ServiceNow ITAM, Tanium Assets. It's used for AI ML to deduplicate, normalize, enrich discovery assets. So that's the cross-domain automation and consolidation space. From an emerging technology space, we have AI and machine learning. It's used in asset discovery and management. It is primarily used for predictive asset management, anomaly detection, intelligent discovery suggestions. Blockchain, immutable asset transactions and ownership logs. That's the strength of the space. From an IoT discovery engine perspective, we have specialized engines to discover and manage millions of IoT devices. From autonomous ITAM systems, it's about self-healing and self-updating asset management system. So these are emerging technologies. Newer technologies are coming up on a regular basis. We need to keep updated with that, and we can choose and constantly upgrade depending on our requirement. Cross-domain automation and consolidation means using one system or connected tools to manage all kinds of IT assets like hardware, software, cloud, mobile, etc. together instead of separately. Instead of using different tools and spreadsheet for each asset type, everything is connected and updated automatically in one place. So what is automation and consolidation? Automation means using smart tools to do tasks automatically, like discovering the asset, updating the record, or sending alerts. Consolidation means bringing everything into one system or dashboard for easy viewing and control. Cross-domain automation and consolidation means using smart tools to manage all your IT asset in one place automatically, making work faster, easier, and more secure. As technology improves, new tools and ideas are making IT asset management smarter, faster, and easier by automating more tasks. These new technologies help ITAM teams save time, reduce error, improve visibility, and respond faster, all with less human effort. We did look at or we understand AI, we understand ML, we understand blockchain and IoT. Let's look at few other areas also. We have the robotic process automation. It's about software bots that do repetitive tasks like clicking, copying, updating, just like a human would, but much faster. For ITAM, it's about filling the forms, updating the inventory record, sending alerts or emails automatically. That's using RPA. Cloud native tools, these are tools built to run in the cloud, often with built-in automation, AI, and real-time update. From ITAM perspective, it tracks cloud assets instantly, auto scales with your business, easily connects with other systems. Digital twins, it's a virtual copy of the physical device or system that mirrors its real-time behavior. From ITAM perspective, it shows live status of an asset, help test change or troubleshoot without touching the real thing. Automation tools helps you find and record IT assets automatically, like computers and other hardwares and that we discussed. But using automation is not always easy. Automation is helpful but not perfect. You still need people, policy, and checks to make sure nothing gets missed or misnamed or mismanaged. Here are some real life problems that companies face when trying to use automation for asset discovery. First one is not all devices show up in the scan. Some are offline, some are personal, or are not connected to the network during the scan. In this case, you miss an important asset, which means security risk or duplicate purchase. In other cases, even if the asset is discovered, it might be missing key details like owner's name or attributes that we discussed earlier. When you miss it, you can't make smart decisions with half the data. The next one, which is quite frequent, the system may find the same asset multiple times using different names. Your inventory gets cluttered, confusing, leading to errors in tracking. This is one major issue that we see in real time. The other one is cloud and mobile devices can appear and disappear quickly. That's the nature of cloud. We have gone there because we want something to be built quickly, and once done, we want to take it off so we save on resources. But that causes this problem of asset disappearing and appearing. They are hard to track in real time. In such cases, asset may go unmonitored, causing security and cost issues. Other challenge is limited tool coverage. One tool may only work for hardware, another for software, another for cloud, and they might not connect also between themselves. And you end up having siloed data and requiring extra manual effort. In other case, from a security and privacy concern perspective, automated scanning tool may need deep access to the system, and that may raise privacy or security red flags. Some teams may block the scan, or regulator may restrict what data can be collected. Automation tool can find the asset, but they don't always know how important they are to your business. Hence, you may not know which assets are critical to operation or store sensitive data. The last part in this case would be cost. Advanced automation tool can be expensive and takes time to set up properly. Some company stick to manual tracking which slows everything down. Now do note in all of these the business context is something which bites us the most because you might have an asset but you don't know how it is linked to the business. When a service disruption happens, it's actually business disruption, and you don't know which part of your asset is linked to that business. This was one of the attributes that I had highlighted earlier in my part 1 that need to be carefully attended, making it mandatory attributes. Though some might argue about making it optional, but those who do that are from a technical space, not from the business space. But it doesn't help in the long run. So the key challenges in summary: visibility, shadow IT, IoT device, BOD missing from the scan. Data quality, about duplicates, tail records, misclassification. Environmental complexity, it's about cloud dynamism, containerization, hybrid environment. Next is scan induced risk, regulatory scanning restriction. High tool cost, staff requirements, network load, CMDB sync issue, tools compatibility, normalization difficulties, firmware configuration detail capture challenges, and dynamic changes to the attributes. Let's now look at an interesting topic, risk. Within risk, there is something called as KRI, which is key risk indicator. It's a warning sign. It helps you when something might go wrong with your IT asset. KRI helps you spot IT asset risks early on, so you can fix them before they turn into a big problem. They are like early warning signals for your asset management, health, and safety. Think of KRI like a check engine light in the car. They help you spot the problem early on so you can fix them before they cause damage. So why KRI matter? In IT asset management space, it helps prevent security problems, avoid surprise cost, stay compliant with rules, reduces downtime or system failures. They focus on the risk, not on performance. Do note, it is not a performance indicator, it's a risk indicator. What to do with the KRI? Monitor them regularly, monthly, weekly, or decide on what is the frequency which is appropriate for your organization and setup. Set thresholds. Example, what percentage, so that at a particular percent, if it breaches, you get an alert. Take action quickly when something crosses the limit. Sample KRIs. Well, I've listed few, but there are many more. But these are something that you can look for reference. For those who are new into this space on risk management or KRI, its example here is what is the percentage of unknown asset. So assuming from your organization, if you say if I have more than 5% of asset unknown, I have a problem. If it is less than 5%, maybe I can manage it out, or I can put other things on priority. Having said that, this generally should be 0 or near 0, because risking even one asset can compromise the whole setup. But then, which is the right number? Because as the organization size increases, the asset number increases. So even if 1% could be a couple of hundreds or thousands if it is a super large organization. Second is percentage of device past end of life, which is about device still in use after the vendor support ended. Next is percentage of unlicensed software. Now this should ideally be 0. Anything above 0, it's a problem because you are having softwares without a license. Next is about how much of the devices are unpatched. Next is how many of the devices are without a tag. How many of the assets are without backups. How many of the assets or mobiles are not enrolled in the MDM. This is to give you an example, a thought process for triggering your actions. You can use all the wisdom that you have and experience that you have gained over the years to define what KRI is relevant for your estate. Now let's look at KPI. Example of KPI is asset inventory accuracy. What it means, percent of an asset in the system that actually exist, shows how reliable your records are. So this requires comparison. You need to have few alternative tools to discover and figure out what is the gap here. How is it performing? Ideally, it should be 100%. Average time to update asset records. This is performance. You can pause the screen, look at the details, what it means and why it is important. As an example, this should help you with your own planning. Let's now look at what is the risk of missing assets or missing asset attributes, or when we miss specifics in this space. When an organization doesn't track all its assets properly, or if important details are missing, it can cause big problem for security, money and operations. If you don't know what you have or you don't know enough about it, you can't protect it or use it wisely or meet legal requirement. This creates real risk for security, cost, performance and compliance. If you don't know an asset exists, you can't protect it. It might not have antivirus, updates or encryption. Hackers can target these invisible devices, causing data leaks or cyber attack. Laws like GDPR, HIPAA, PCI-DSS requires you to track and protect data and device. If you can't show where sensitive data lives, you can't manage it and you will fail an audit, potentially break the law or get fined. If you don't track what you already own, you might buy unnecessary assets or miss its renewal, resulting in wasted money, surprise bills or penalty for expired software licenses. These are things which can be avoided very easily. If an asset info is missing or wrong, it's hard to fix problems quickly. You'll struggle during incident time. There will be delays, there will be system downtimes, failures to respond during an emergency. And this is observed 100% of the time during an incident. Generally, the missing data is the one which causes the delay. You rely on asset data to plan, budget, upgrade and support. When you miss it, it doesn't help you with that planning. It triggers bad decisions, might trigger of overspending or missing important upgrades. If you don't know who owns or uses an asset, no one is responsible for its care, you have a problem. Asset can be misused, lost or ignored, and no one notices it. Let's now look at regulations and acts which gets impacted with when you have a poor asset management process. If IT asset management processes are missing or ineffective, organizations can breach several global and sector specific regulations, mainly because they fail to protect the critical system, personal data, or ensure operational resilience. Let's take the case of GDPR. The penalty in this case is 4% of your annual global turnover. There are a few $1,000,000 there, so whichever is higher. But let's take the higher side of 4% of annual global turnover. Imagine you are present in 50 countries. 49 countries all in track, and there is one small country, maybe one small branch, few assets missing. It will still trigger a penalty. That branch might be minuscule in your turnover, but because of that one, you might have a situation where you have to pay your global turnover 4%. Think through if this is your estate. Think through how would you justify it. You can't. So that's how difficult GDPR is going to be. The next is HIPAA. In this case, the fine is up to 1.5 million per violation per year, and potential criminal charges for severe negligence. Now do understand it. It says it is 1.5 million per violation. That means if you have an asset which is missing, you have a different asset with attributes missing, you are you have an asset where the patches are missing, you have an asset where the configurations are not in line or the mapping is not in place. These are individual violation. So every violation would be $1.5 million. It can go up to that. It is at the discretion of the auditor who comes in. Having said that, take an extreme. What if it is your situation? Now, we might be having a solution saying that we'll fix it this year. And if we miss next year, if it comes for investigation or tracking and you miss it, it's a straight hit. Repeat. Can you afford it? The next is PCI DSS. The penalty in this case is from $5,000 to $100,000 per month till you fix the gap. Worst case scenario, they would revoke the rights to process any card payment. Now, this is a big business. Can you afford it? In SOX, there are fines and criminal liabilities are also inbuilt. Again, bad press hits the reputation which you would have built out in many years. The next is the DPDP Act of 2023. In this case, it's about 30 million USD for major breaches. Can you afford it? Next is NIST CSF. This has a straight hit. Contract get terminated, financial penalty and blacklisting. The Basel 3.4. It triggers off higher capital requirement, regulatory intervention or operational restrictions. The CIP or the Critical Infrastructure Protection or the NERC CIP standard. It's $1 million per day per violation. Think through if you get hit with this. Can an organization stand easily after paying these fines? Plus the reputational damage which would kill off any competition. You would be out of it. In summary, please look at the screen, pause the video, take a snap, think through. You can use this in your project plan if you are trying to convince your management about the importance and the risk. This one can help you build the case in the right order. Hope this helps. In conclusion, IT infrastructure asset management is an indispensable discipline for modern organization. A well-executed ITAM process enhances operational efficiency, ensures regulatory compliance, mitigates risks, and reduces cost. As IT environments become more and more complex with cloud computing, IoT, and remote workforce, the importance of robust asset management practice will only increase. Organization must invest in the right technology, establish clear policies, and foster a culture of accountability to realize the full benefit of IT infrastructure asset management. By aligning ITAM with strategic objective, enterprise can transform asset management from a mere operational necessity into a key driver of business value. Asset categories enables a risk-aware and performance-driven asset management framework. Organizations that adapt this structured approach enhances their visibility, resilience, compliance posture, and operational efficiency across their IT environment. By proactively monitoring KRIs and KPIs, enterprise can move from a reactive firefighting to predictive strategic IT asset management, aligning IT with business value and regulatory expectations. We have understood, hopefully, the overall objective, the importance, its component, its flow, its stages, the best practices, the challenges, the technologies related to IT asset management. We also understood the governance, risk, and compliance aspect. We have understood the trends in this space, key attributes, disk automation in the discovery space, and many other items. With this, we can conclude the series on IT asset management. I would like to thank you for taking your time out. Much appreciated. Thank you. Namaskar.